This is Matchday Live with NordVPN. After a month away from Elland Road, the team returned to home soil and Premier League action this afternoon. All the build-up on the way ahead of full match commentary of another huge game this season. It's Leeds United against Aston Villa, and it's all live for you here on LUTV.
That's an absolute belter! Oh, it's in from Longstaff! Okafor! Dominic Calvert-Lewin!
And I'm delighted to say that joining us for this one, we have Simon Grayson and Jermaine Beckford. How are we doing, lads?
Good afternoon. Very good, thanks. How are you doing?
Forward to this one. Well, I've been better, to be honest, lads.
We know.
It's torrential rain. I made sure they both know about it. It's torrential rain here at Elland Road, isn't it? And I've been stood outside of it. Anyway, in terms of the game, what are you looking forward to today, Simon? Because we're back at home.
Yeah, look, I think that's a big thing that we're at home after a disappointing result and performance at Forest a couple of weeks ago. Got through the international break without getting anybody injured or anything like that. So this place is going to be a real good atmosphere today. Hopefully we get off to a real positive start and get that positivity around the place, because it is a little bit negative at the moment in terms of the last few results and the performances, but sometimes there's no better way than trying to put things right from what's gone wrong by a home performance under the faithful at Leeds United, backing them up from start to finish.
Bex, to use Simon's words there, you know, the negativity, which is understandable. As a player, how do you feel when you're on a bit of a run like this?
It's frustrating, it's annoying, don't get me wrong, but I think one of the best things for the players currently, of what's happened over the last week or so, is having the international break up the disappointing run of results that we've had. With exception to the West Ham game where we picked up the 3 points, the 2 games prior to that, after that, the Brighton game and the Forest game, as the gaffer touched on there, were really disappointing in terms of obviously the amount of goals that we conceded, three in either game. But we're able to put that to bed, put it to one side, and focus on the here and now, moving forward. We've got a really difficult run of games coming up as well. And the Premier League is all about testing yourselves against the best of the best, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we're not expecting to have easy games. It's impossible in this league. And we've just got to take it a game at a time. We can only focus on what's in front of us. Villa are a very, very good side. Currently a very good side. I think they are the informed side of the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah, they've won 5 of the last 6.
5 of the last 6, which is great for them, but for us, it says to us, right, can we be that team that's going to knock them off their perch? Can we cause a couple of issues for this team? They're going to come here full of confidence, hopefully underestimate us a little bit as well, and if they do that, you know, this place, as Gaffer touched on there, is a phenomenal place to play.
I think if we can win today or get a real good performance, it can set us up for these next run of games where, on paper, really tough games, obviously talking Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, really tough games, but if we can get a positive result against a real strong Villa team, as Jermaine mentioned there, that are in a good form, got some real talented players in Europe, pushing to get into that top 4 again, then the confidence levels can be increased and it can set us up for, on paper, games that everybody expected us to lose, but then we can go into a little bit more confidence in them games.
As a manager, Simon, how do you prepare for those kind of games? Because you're right, on paper, people are looking at it going, well, Leeds United will probably lose this, but that doesn't mean we will, and it's like this attitude of, well, of course you will, but as a manager, you can't have that attitude, can you?
No, look, and all you've got to do is make sure you're focusing on the next game, so total focus from Daniel and the squad is about today. Learn next week about Manchester City, what they need to improve on, sort of everything, but solely concentrate on today's performance and getting a positive result, because nobody likes coming to Elland Road to play against us, and we've got to use that as an advantage. Yes, away form hasn't been great over the last few weeks and performances, and that's why home form is going to be so key for the rest of for now, but for the rest of the season as well.
Why is home form so, not just so important, Bex, but why is it so good? And you know what it's like to play here at Elland Road, but what kind of a difference does it make?
Oh, humongous. the intimidation factor, the history of the stadium. You just hear the sound of the crowd, the fans, the way they get behind the team, especially when the players are given 100% every single moment. I've been here obviously as a home player and as an away player, and I much prefer it as a home player. You know, the pressure you feel under when you're coming from an away team is immense. You almost feel that the crowd are going to get on top of you if it doesn't quite go their way, and I much prefer to be a home player.
I think when you play in the Premier League, the players are used to playing in front of 40, 50, 60,000 week in and week out. That isn't an issue for players because that's what they do. But ultimately as well, some of these grounds are far away from the pitch, and that's the added advantage here at Elland Road, that the crowd of 34,000 home supporters are intimidating to start with, but on top of you as well, and the noise probably sounds double unless you compared to say West Ham's ground, Tottenham's ground, because it's a bigger
so far away
and so open as well. So the hostile environment.
Like a cauldron.
Yeah, it is.
That's exactly how we like it.
And when you speak to people about the new stadium's going to be built, they want to make sure that they're still creating that atmosphere of that intimidancy of and hostility that's going to intimidate the opposition at times.
Absolutely. Look, Bex, let's talk about team news as well, shall we? Because we know Pascal Sturrock's coming in for Biol. But I want to talk about the bench. Very strong bench. Dan James, Nonto on the bench as well, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, when you look at a game like this and you look at that bench, how important is it that we have strength in depth?
Very important. I heard an interesting fact about the goals that we scored recently. 80% of the goals we've scored this season have come in the first half. So obviously that means that the remaining 20% have been in the second half. If we've got such a strong bench like we do there with Dan James, who, you know, his home form is 1 and 2. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's a pest up front, he causes all sorts of problems. Joao Peru is ruthless in front of goal. You've got Nonto as well, a great option with his pace, with his close control, with his tenacity as well. That 20% of the goals we scored all season at home in the second half has got to change. And with those players on the bench, that will be the case. It's just disappointing on a personal level. I would love to see a lot of those players, the attacking players, starting the game and putting Aston Villa on the back foot right from the beginning of the game. But again, we're not previewed to what goes on behind the scenes on a day-to-day basis at the training ground. We don't know the individual fitness levels of all of these players. We don't know what mentality they've got right now, the mindset they're in. With the international break as well, they could be carrying 1 or 2 niggling little injuries, which might be the reason they're on the bench. But look, it's better to have them on the bench than not to have them at all.
Good to have them there to call upon.
Exactly.
And in terms of the bench as well, the only criticism that goes around at Daniel at times is that he doesn't use his substitutes earlier than everybody wants him to. Look, I'm never going to criticise Daniel too much because I've been in that dugout for nearly 800 times at different clubs, and knowing you're trying to make the best decisions for your team and your football club wherever you are. But sometimes you've got to learn and think, bringing players on with 15, 20 minutes to go, is that really the benefit of the team? You can't really make an impact as much as you'd like to do in that 10, 15 minute period. Bringing them on a little bit earlier could help, and that's maybe got a factor why we've only scored 2 or 3 goals in the second half of games, because we have not been able to use the capabilities and the strength in depth that we've got from that bench situation.
Okay, well look, with just over 20 minutes to go until kick-off, let's get the thoughts of one of today's starting 11, shall we? Anton Stack is with Bryn Law.
Well, Anton, there's been the break. Has everyone used the break to work well to make sure that you're prepared properly for this game today?
Yeah, of course. I think we worked a lot over the last week, and especially before. And so today we try to have a really good game and to stick back to get some points. It's
been a long time since the last game here at Elland Road, hasn't it? Nearly a month. But this is a place where you will really hope to do well, I guess, through the course of this season.
Yeah, of course. It's always nice to play at home with our fans. And we need to take like the fire from the fans today, to have a good game and then to get some energy to push each other, and of course it's not an easy game. It's a tough opponent, but we try to win it.
Yeah, you're playing one of the Premier League's better sides, aren't you, this afternoon, which is going to make it a real challenge, I would imagine.
Yeah, of course, and I think they had an impressive run the last games. They won a lot, and we tried to stop them today.
I'm sure they will indeed try and stop them today. But let's talk about our opposition, shall we? What are you expecting, Simon, from this Aston Villa side?
Look, this is a real good Aston Villa team, and it's a fantastic football club. I had a couple of years playing there, and it's a big football club who have done really well last year. I think they've got an excellent coach. I think on paper, the front four that they've got are as good as any in the Premier League. When Bondia, McGinn on the right hand side, Rodgers and Watkins as the centre forward, I think they've got some real quality that can hurt you at times. And what we've got to be careful of today is that, yes, we want to get off to a fast start, we want to be forward thinking and get in on the front foot, but you've certainly got to be aware of the counter-attacking threat of that front four. Two good full-backs that have been around the Premier League a long time. This is a big test for us today, but not one that you should be scared of, because you are Leeds United and you are playing for the shirt that you are desperate to get 3 points for. But it is a good football club and a fantastic team. I
actually think that's one of the reasons Daniel Farke's gone with the players that he's gone for today. Excuse me. Is far more defensive minded in terms of the I don't know, 9 players that are behind Okafor and Mecha. The rest of the players are first sports defensive capabilities. Defensive responsibilities, sorry. What do I do when we don't have possession? We got to get back as quickly as possible, keep it as narrow as possible, and you know, if we lose the ball on the turnover, defensively we should be okay. I'm far more of an attacking minded person though. I want to see the best form of defence, which is attack in my mind.
We've got to make sure that we defend really well today against that front four, because again, one of the stats this morning was that we've conceded 17 goals inside the 18-yard box. That is too many. If teams are scoring from 25 yards, fantastic shots, etc., you'll go, well, that's a quality of the Premier League. But when teams are getting tap-ins or people not staying with runners and scoring from inside the 18-yard box, it means as a team we are not defending well enough and dealing with the strengths of the Premier League. You give opportunities in the Championship, 10 chances, probably concede, so you concede 5 of them. You concede 10 chances in the Premier League, you could probably concede 8 of them. That is the level of the difference, and that's why you've got to be on your toes and have that more skill set of defensive mindedness.
And Simon, it feels like games like this are a real true test of a manager as well. You were talking earlier about, you know, making the changes. These kind of games require adaptability, don't they?
Well, they do, and again, that's a slight criticism that Daniel's been had at him, that he sort of does like-for-like substitutions, doesn't change the system or anything like that, but that's just him. He's been successful at his football club, and so never going to ever criticise him for what he's done, but people are entitled to opinions. You have to be adaptable. He'll be adaptable in certain little ways that people probably don't notice within the game, but it's just having that sort of mindset of being positive in possession, but out of possession as well, playing with your head as well as your heart.
Bex, how will he have utilised the international break to prepare for this game, do you think, Daniel?
I think that's a great question for the gaffer, to be honest.
I'm just feeling like I'm asking questions, and you got the Ardeni.
I'm quite happy to just sit here and smile.
Simon.
I've got a rough idea of what the schedule was after the Forest game. They were probably in for a get-together about the result, and then they'll have had 4 or 5 days off to go back home. Maybe Daniel went home to Germany. Other players have been off on international duty. But then he'll have had some good training sessions in this last week or so. So to implement ideas, getting 1 or 2 players up to speed more. So Calvert-Lewin has had nearly 2 weeks now to get back up to fitness levels. Dan James, who's not been playing too much for Leeds at this moment in time, went away with Wales and did really well. So he'll have used it in a way to refresh the body, refresh the mind, but also then come back and get some tactical and technical work into it as well.
Okay, well look lads, we have a new member of the LUTV team today. Don't worry, no one's taking your jobs. Simon looked very alarmed then. No, we're going to be joined by 15-year-old Jack Dobson. As a junior member, he won a competition to join the LUTV team for the day. Not sure that's the best prize, really, is it, working with us?
I bet we've got the booby prize working with you.
Well, we'll hear from him very shortly, but first, let's catch up with our commentary team today, Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
So here we are, back in the tunnel. It's been a long time since we were occupying this position and ready to talk about a Leeds United team. But we've got Tony DeRigo. We've also got Jack with us as well today. Jack, competition winner, who's joining us for the day on LUTV. We'll be hearing from him in a moment. But first, Tony, team, what do you think?
So Strauch has been brought back in and Biol back to the bench. I think it's important that we get off to a really good start. And today, more than anything, we have to be physical. I think we have to get in amongst these Villa players, because clearly they have some very talented players, but if we allow them to play, we're going to be in trouble. But what can we use to our advantage? What can we do to be better than them? So let's be stronger, fitter, quicker, and really up that pace at the start of the game.
And after a couple of difficult away games, this place becomes even more important to Leeds United, doesn't it, this stadium?
It does. We all said at the start of the season, what will be the difference between us staying up and getting relegated is going to be our home form. We know away from home, the last couple of results have been not great, performances not very good, but here at home, I think we've been competitive in every game. We need to keep that up, need to have the belief, and this is another big game for us. Opportunity for
Matchday in from the start up front. Took his goal well, didn't he, in that last game?
He really did, and when we've got opportunities to score, we have to take a higher percentage of them. We haven't quite been doing that, but also the service hasn't been great into Calvert-Lewin earlier in the season, but Matchday did. He did fantastically well, and when it was half a chance, he buried it in the bottom corner, so we need more of that.
Well, there you go. That's how you do it, Tony, but let's raise the bar a little bit. Jack, what are you expecting? Now, you're a season ticket holder, aren't you? So you see plenty of Leeds United games. What is your expectation for this game today?
I'm feeling positive, but if we were to...
Don't add a but carry on with the positive. Go on.
If we were to get the 3 points, I think it puts us to 16th, and I think be a little bit more safe, but still need to be a bit triumphant.
Triumphant. I love that word.
I like
what
that.
A great word
Let's
to finish
go with that.
Leeds need to be triumphant. Well done, Jack.
We certainly do need to be triumphant. I like Jack. A good motivational talk, that, wasn't it, lads?
Get him in the dressing room.
Yeah.
2 minutes before kick-off.
Look, best of luck to Jack. Let's hope he keeps Bryn and Tony in check today, But let's look again at this Aston Villa side, because we know, like you mentioned earlier, Simon, they have plenty of danger men. For you, Bex, is there anybody in particular that you've got your eye on?
I think we briefly touched on it before. You look at the front four players. I think they're all really, really good, and they're up there with the best four in the Premier League at this current moment in time. Fortunately, well, I think Ollie Watkins has had a little bit of a rough time in terms of what he's been doing in front of goal. Similar, you could argue, similar to what it's been like for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But Buendia has been a breath of fresh air for Villa. I think his goal contributions and his goals have been vital for Villa where they are currently. I think he's got 5 in his last 5 or 6 games contributions, and that in itself is it's a little bit worrying, a little bit alarming for us. We need to try and stop the ball from going into him, stop the supply service going into himself. If we can get tight to him but not too tight, make him think and worry about where we are. I think that's going to be one of the most important things. Apart from that, it's Villa. They're flying high at the moment. They're full of confidence. They're a dangerous side.
They absolutely are. But Simon, where, if anywhere, can you see Villa's weaknesses?
Look, I think defensively they're not the most solid. They've conceded quite a few goals as well. So I think we've got to try and impose ourselves against their full-back areas. Matty Cash, I think, is a real good attacking fullback, and Dieng on the left-hand side. Maybe try and get at them in that respect. But I don't think it'll be any one-on-one battles that are going to be the key. We have to play as a team and make sure that we work and press together, and that we don't allow them time on the ball. And if the match is squeezing and pressing from the front, then the 2 wide players, the 2 midfield players, the 3 midfield players behind are doing it all, and with the compactness of the group. And when we lose possession, we have to get back into shape really well. So it's not about our individuals against their individuals, it's a collective team process to try and get the result today.
Yeah, it's that cohesion, isn't it? Bex, how important is patience going to be in a game like this today?
Vitally. Look, the gaffer touched on it there. If we're rushing, individuals will get caught out of position, and will be able to, and Villa will be able to exploit those spaces that have been isolated. If we take our time, especially in the defensive areas, once we turn the ball over, get it out wide to the quick players, to the wide players. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the ball up to Mecha nice and early, get him to pin the defenders, and then squeeze everybody up. That's where we're going to be okay, I think, for the first half until we make the substitutions. I'm quite firm on the substitutions being a key element of us being successful today.
I think what we've got to be careful of is this: we don't need to turn this into a basketball match where it's attack versus defence and vice versa, because they've got better players than us. We need to make sure that, and this is really difficult to do this at Elland Road because the crowd expect you to get after the opposition, but you've also got to make sure that you're doing it as a collective, because Villa have got world-class players that will pick you off if you're not careful on and not doing things in the right manner. So again, use the phrase, play with your head as well as your heart, but do it as a collective rather than the individuals.
Yeah, that goes back to that cohesion and patience, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of the subs, Bex, you know, we heard Simon reference it earlier, but in a game like this, would you expect that Daniel Farke might make changes earlier when you look at our bench?
It's impossible to say because we don't know how the game's going to pan out yet.
I know we can't foresee it, but
I think we would, if depending on what
when we're 3-0 up then.
Yeah, exactly that. So I would like to see Dan James come on one side. I would like to see Nonto come on the other side, and Dominic up top as well in the second half, hopefully with like half an hour to go when we're cruising.
Yes, we are. Okay, then with less than 10 minutes to go until kick-off here at Elland Road, let's get the thoughts of the boss, Daniel Farke.
Yes, to be honest, on this level, each every game is a big challenge, and especially as a newly promoted side, you have to be at your very best. If you're not at your top level, you have no chance in this league to win any points, and especially against the inform Villa side with top players, the top manager. Of course, we have to be there with the top performance and to be good in each every detail. And it's all a bit tricky during the international break because you don't have the players there for the whole time. Some will arrive pretty late, so it's a bit challenging and complicating with the preparation. But nevertheless, we want to be spot on also on the details, because if we do so, then we have a chance, especially in a home game, Yes, he's one of the best in this business. You just have to have a look on this CV. Outstanding record. I think he's done outstanding work at Villa. If you have a look on his European record, it's incredible. And yeah, it's always great to see him because he's also a gentleman. It's always nice to chat with him, but it's never that great to see one of his sides because it's so challenging to play against them. They are difficult to open, difficult to create chances and to score against them. They have always a clear strategy. I like managers who are there with the handwriting, and under Unai you always see a handwriting of the team, and for that he's one of the best in the business. And it's great to see him, but also challenging to have him on the other side as a manager.
Simon, we heard Daniel Farke talk about details there. How important is the detail and the attention to that detail in a game like this?
Yeah, I think it's vital, the attention to detail in any game that you're involved in now, not just because you're playing Aston Villa, but I think what he's trying to stress there is the things that him and his staff have picked up on with Aston Villa from a positive and negative perspective, that the message that is relayed and worked with the players in the last few days, that the players have to nail them things down and do what he's asked them to do, because there's nothing worse where as a manager coach that you've highlighted some areas that you can profit from, and players then go off and do their own things because all that sort of preparation can go out the window, and you don't also want to take away the individual flair from the individuals, but that's why the managers do what we do, because we think we know what we're doing and we're trying to nail down specific positives and negatives in a particular game.
You usually do know what you're doing. Let's see if you know what you're doing with this one, Simon Grayson, because you know what I'm going to ask you.
He can go first.
Okay, Jermaine Beckford, score prediction, please.
This is going to be a really difficult game. If we can get a win, that would be fantastic. That's the ideal scenario. If we walk away with a draw, I'll be content. So I would say 2-2, I think, but I want a 2-1 win.
You'll take 2-2. Go on, Simon, what are you saying?
I want a 2-1 win, but also I think it might be 1-1. I would take 1-1 as well.
You've both been very diplomatic there, unusually diplomatic, actually.
No, but because you're playing Aston Villa and they're a real good team.
Yeah, that's
Exactly
very true.
Exactly.
Right, look, I'm just looking behind us. The teams are about to head out here at Elland Road, so it is time now to hand you over to your commentary team at the gantry for this afternoon, Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Well, it's really good to be back. It's been too long since Leeds United were last in action here at Elland Road. Quite a bit has happened in the meantime. A couple of away defeats, some successes on international duty for some of the players who've been away. But also, worryingly, as the results came in yesterday, it became apparent that Leeds United would begin their return at Elland Road